There's nothing more confident than crushing short balls in tennis, if you can do it. But unfortunately, most players at the club and junior level miss these easy balls. And it can be one of the most frustrating shots in tennis. And this of course leads you to losing to players that you know you should beat. So if this is a chord with you, don't worry, I've got you. By mastering your ability to finish short balls, you'll be able to start putting together clean serve +1 combos, dominate pushers, and swing with confidence. The first thing you want to do when you recognize a short ball in tennis is to find out whether it's coming to your forehand or backhand side, and then get into the unit turn. The unit turn basically refers to the halfway turning position that's going to allow you to move in different directions, as well as set you up for an easy timing of your turning away and into your shot. To get into this position, with your offhand on the throat of the racket, you're going to start your turn about 45 degrees away. This is basically halfway between the side of the fence and the net. From here, you're going to get your racket tip pointing up, and it's mainly driven from your off arm. Now, in terms of stances, once you actually get to the ball, you're going to have to decide how open or closed you want to be. A lot of pros for higher balls are going to get in a variation of a semi-open or open stance, but for lower balls, they're going to get into more of a closed stance. So in your unit turn, along with where the ball is going to go, you want to take a note of what height it's going to be at so that you know whether you should get into an open stance or a closed stance. Now, if you read the ball coming to your backhand, you're going to notice that ideally the footwork pattern is going to be hit from a neutral or closed stance, which we'll cover soon. So now that we split, got into our unit turn, and we're ready to start moving forward, pros are going to use a unique footwork pattern to actually move up to the ball for maximum precision and efficiency. Now, when your opponent hits you a short ball, it's really tempting, I know, to try and just sprint up to the ball or to let go with your offhand and just flail your arms around. The problem here is, though, you might succeed in getting to the ball early, but once you get to the ball, you're going to turn late. So instead, pros are going to use a footwork pattern called cross steps to get up to the ball. This basically refers to your back foot crossing in front of your front foot to move forward. And this is done in several ways. When you're moving straight up, you're going to split step and then get into a variation of a semi-open or closed stance, and then cross your back foot in front of your front. And this is even the case for when you're trying to get around your backhand. But to move for an inside-out shot, instead, we're going to cross our back leg behind our front leg just so that we can keep our body's orientation in the right way. And lastly, if the ball drops to your forehand side, you're usually going to do more of a forward shuffle or more like a sprinting motion because your feet are already aligned in the direction of your path. Now, wherever you're going here, do your best to make sure that you're maintaining balance throughout your movement and try and keep your body upright as you move. And to get you used to the unit turn and the prep footwork to get to the ball, I have the perfect drill for you. First things first, either have a hitting partner or a coach in front of you for this. And if you're actually by yourself, you can alternatively do all of these drills while tossing them in front of you as well. First off, I'm going to have Dayshree toss the ball right in front of me, and I'm going to practice the unit turn and stepping in front. And as you can see, I'm not going to hit the ball, but instead, I'm going to use my off arm to catch it. This is going to help you to engage your off arm, and it's also going to help you to move in the precise way that we talked about to get in position to the ball. So again, I'm going to split, unit turn, cross step, and then catch. From there, I can start adding a little bit of variation in height. So I can move up for a high ball and set up in an open stance or a semi-open stance. And then for a low ball, I'm going to move up in a neutral stance. Once you get used to that, you can start spicing things up and adding the inside out, where you cross your back foot behind your front foot, and the forward shuffle with the forehand side. And here's what it looks like by yourself. I'm going to toss a ball straight in front of me, start my movement, and then catch. It's going to be hard to surprise myself here unless I'm like, I don't know, I could drink like a couple glasses of tequila before this maybe. And last but certainly not least, you can have your opponent, while you're doing these drills, have them surprise you with a really short ball. Now, it's safe to say that if you're doing a lot of these drills moving up and back and unlocking new parts of your body and muscles like engaging your core, you're probably going to wake up sore the next day. So if you are, that's where our proud sponsor of today's video, Gainful, is exactly for you. Gainful is a sports nutrition subscription that's built for athletes just like you to help you meet your fitness and nutrition goals both on and off the court. I personally love these guys. They have everything from protein powders to hydration and pre-workout blends. And just like us, they really focus on personalization. So they'll take things like your body type, your diet requirements, and your fitness regimen both on and off the court, and they'll put together a personally tailored blend just for you. So I took their quiz about a month ago and got their Performance First blend that happened to also be soy and gluten-free. And I really liked it. It's part of my regular routine now. I use it basically after every training session and workout. And Deichi tried out one of their hydration blends. Deichi, what did you think of it?
Let's just say I won.
Lastly, as a member, you'll get one-on-one access to a certified dietitian to help you meet your fitness and training goals both on and off the court. So if you're interested, click the first link in the description below and get $15 off your first month. Enjoy. For step number 3, once you get to the short ball, there's a specific technique that pros use with their feet during and after their shot that gives them more power and control over the ball. And the best players in the world will use dynamic footwork patterns to maintain that forward momentum through the shot so that they can easily approach the net. Now, depending on exactly which direction you're moving to, as well as things like your contact height, the exact footwork patterns that you use are going to change. On higher balls, pros are actually going to set up in more of a semi-open stance, which is where their feet are about 45 degrees to the service line with most of their weight on the back foot. And being able to set up in a more open stance is going to allow you to raise your hitting arm shoulder, which is going to raise your contact height as well. Now, as pros straighten their back leg against the ground, this is going to propel them into the air and help them to accelerate their hip and torso forward to the net. Simultaneously, they'll take their left leg forward almost as if they're taking a big step forward. And this allows them to transfer their weight forward for maximum power. And with their weight already going forward, they'll run straight into the net from here. On lower balls, pros are typically going to set up in the neutral stance with the feet perpendicular to the service line. From there, they'll use what we call the front foot hop technique. This is where you hit a ball from the closed stance, but because of your forward momentum, you're actually going to hop and then land on the same foot, the front foot, as you rotate. This allows players to maximize their forward momentum while hitting the ball and easily transitioning into the net. And once you dialed in your footwork patterns, you're ready to master your forward swing. One of the most common problems that I see when players hit high short balls is that they go straight down and end up hitting the ball straight into the net. Now, on the surface, this kind of makes sense, and I fell for this a lot. Basically, the thought process goes like, well, if I'm already short into the court, and I were to have this forward linear swing path, then wouldn't the ball just sail along? But you see, the problem is that even on higher balls, this flat swing path is just going to lead to a ball that goes straight into the net. And this is a problem that I had for the longest time. I would stretch Deichi out wide beautifully and get an easy chip ball back, only to just hit it right into the net every single time. And it was so frustrating. And if you've been in this situation before, you've probably also gotten really tight and ended up getting jammed in your shot, or even worse, just resorted to floating the ball for a very slow, safe approach shot. So instead, pros are able to consistently finish these short balls because they utilize topspin. If you have enough topspin on your shot, you could swing as hard as you want and the ball will still dip down into the court. And this is especially true for low balls. When you don't have nearly as much net clearance, you're going to be relying heavily on that topspin to get the ball to dip down because you have a shorter margin in the court. So back to the higher, shorter balls, we're actually going to visualize a straight line in front of us and actually try and extend our arm through our target going straight forward. And frankly, it's better that the ball sails long than goes into the net, because last time I checked, no one's going to surprisingly call it in if it goes into the net. And to dip the ball down into the court, you're going to focus on rotating your racket over hard from your shoulder and your forearm. And this goes the same for your backhand. Instead of the bottom arm, you're actually going to use your top arm, or for righties, your left arm, to rotate that hand and racket over to create massive amounts of spin and get the ball over. Now at this point, if somebody were to feed you a short high ball, you should be able to perfectly execute both high and low backhand and forehand short balls. But as you start playing higher and higher levels of tennis, being able to be strategic with this shot becomes equally as important. By far, the biggest mistake that I see at the club level is going too big with this approach shot. Now, swinging aggressively is fine, but when you're just hitting flat shots, you're usually gonna miss. The best players in the world don't use the approach shot as a finishing shot, but instead as a setup shot. Here, your goal isn't to blast the ball off the court and see yourself on the highlight reel, but instead to hit a strategically placed shot with a good margin for error and set yourself up for an easy volley finish. This means putting more spin on the ball and getting it deep instead of going for the lines. And this subsequently is going to push your opponent back and allow you to utilize more angles. On most balls, the ideal place to hit the ball on your approach shot is down the line. This is because attacking cross court immediately opens you up for an easy down the line shot for your opponent, and they really don't even have to hit it hard to pass you here. So to cover this, you'll probably end up rushing over to the side, but because of how much momentum you already have, your opponent could easily just hit behind you. Now, in some cases, if your opponent is really bad like Daytree and doesn't have a backhand, you can actually attack their weakness because you're confident that they can't pass you, especially under pressure. But keep in mind that you shouldn't do this at higher levels. So athletes, there you have it. Go and take that drill out onto the court and start thinking about these concepts. And next time you see a short ball, start thinking exactly how you're gonna respond with the unit turn, the cross step, the footwork pattern, the swing path, and the strategy. And remember, if you want $15 off your first month of Gainful's protein and hydration blends, then make sure to click the first link in the description below. As always, athletes, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, go out and train hard. I'll see you in the next video. One more. No, I wasn't. I think I need to do it again.